What is going on, everybody? We are back at the greenhouse for another video, which means we are making some awesome progress. Make sure to subscribe to the channel to see it keep happening. But we got some stuff to work on today, but I'll talk about that in a minute. I wanted to give everybody an update on the evaporative cooling system we installed in the last video. If you didn't see that video, go check it out here. I will link it above. But it's been running for about a week now, and it's been very hot outside, and I'm glad to say it has been working wonderfully. So we use little thermometers and stuff on Wi-Fi to track all the temperatures and humidity. So you can see I took this screenshot yesterday when it was 101 degrees outside. So you can see down here is outside the greenhouse, and then here is inside the greenhouse. So outside was 101 degrees, inside stayed 82. That is almost a 20-degree temperature difference. And the cool thing too is if you look, outside was 18% humidity and inside was what, 65%, which is awesome. So my goal was to be able to keep it 50+% humidity in here all the time. So if in the hottest time of the day it's staying 60+, we are doing great. For the most part, it keeps it about 10, 12 degrees cooler than outside, which is still really good. But when it gets really hot, it seems to work even better. So yeah, that is going awesome. That means very exciting news. We are done. The greenhouse is completely climate controlled. That was the biggest what if that I had. So the next step is to start hardscaping it, getting it ready for plants and animals. This is going to be all the fun stuff. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. We got a lot more coming up. But today we're going to start getting ready for plants. Guys, come out here, check this out. So our dirt needs a little change in to be good for all our tropical plants. And I may have overdone it, guys. I may have ordered way too much. So this is a whole pallet of peat moss, and then this is a whole pallet of perlite. So we need to mix this into our soil to make it good and healthy for the plants, basically. I'll explain more as we go, but the perlite helps add drainage to it and oxygen down in there, keeps it from just becoming tight soil that packs together. And then the peat moss does the same thing. It makes it spongy, fluffy, and helps with water retention, which it gets hot in there. So things are probably going to dry out fairly quickly. So we need good water retention. Lots of the plants we're going to get are definitely water-loving plants. But yeah, this probably might not be the most exciting video, but stay tuned till the end. We'll show some stuff when it's all done and maybe get ready to start hardscaping. But for now, we just need to get all this mixed into all the dirt in there. So we are not looking forward to it. But thankfully, we got the wet walls done. So at least it's not 100 degrees in there. But I'm dreading it. So I'm just going to get after it right now before I get lazy. All right, so we went home for the night, took a break because this sucks. But we got started mixing it. You can see how far we've gotten. This is all the old dirt, and we're just kind of mixing it as we go and then pushing it over here in a pile of the good new dirt. And yeah, this basically sucks. But we're trying to think of faster ways to do it, and we can't really think of anything. If we use like a tiller, there's not much room in here. We'd rip up all the weed barrier that we have down below. It would be hard to get it evenly mixed. Thought about using a concrete mixer and just shoveling it into there, but it would probably be slower and I'd still have to do all the shoveling, so it wouldn't really save us that much work. So I think we are doing it the fastest way possible. It just sucks really bad. Basically, we're chipping off dirt here, which this dirt's all pretty hard packed from being wet and us walking on it while we're working on stuff. So we're chipping dirt off, and then we mix the peat moss and the perlite in there, and then just make a mixture here. And then once it's good, pile it up out of the way. We've kind of figured out a mixture that we think is going to work good for us. So probably have a little bit of extra stuff left over, but that's okay. We can sell it or something. But the reason we want to do it is, you can see this, it's pretty good topsoil, but it's still kind of like clay. You can see it packs kind of hard. And we want well draining soil that stays fluffy. So the perlite helps with the drainage. The peat moss helps keep it fluffy. So this is the new mixture we've got. So you can see it's a lot better, a lot fluffier. It still packs a little bit, but it breaks up super easy. So I think this will be a lot better for what we need. Like we said, it keeps oxygen down to the roots. It'll keep water evenly dispersing through it rather than just packing and creating layers that aren't permeable. And then the peat moss also helps balance the pH. So it'll give us a pH that all the tropical plants like. But Yeah, basically there's just no fun way to do this. So we're just going to try to get it knocked out, see if we can get it all done today, and yeah, go from there. Hopefully we survive. So wish us luck. All right, we have made a little bit of progress. You can see we've got all this mixed dirt over here, but unfortunately we still have this whole other side to do. So this has definitely turned into a multiple day project, but today I have some friends that came over. We recruited some help, so that should help us. We're hoping to get it all done today, but I'm always open. So we'll see how it goes, but yeah, let's get the rest of this mixed up and we'll go from there. Okay, we finally got the dirt mix thanks to the help from Samson and Juan, so thank you guys very much. But as you can see, we got it all mixed. It was a pain, but it is done. So now the next step is to mix in some fertilizers and then add our mulch. I'm squinting like always, can't see crap. I really need to just bring my sunglasses in here. I don't know why I do this to myself. But we have all our mulch over here and some fertilizers and other stuff. So let me set you up on the tripod and we'll talk about that. Look at these guys. Okay, so we've got all our mulch. We've got some of our fertilizers and stuff. And I just want to explain what we're kind of doing here. We're trying to create somewhat of a natural ecosystem. I can't use chemical fertilizers because of the animals, especially the amphibians like the frogs. So we have to create a natural system where the plants are getting what they need, but I'm not constantly fertilizing with chemicals that are going to kill everything else and be bad for all the microbes that live in the soil. So as natural as possible, and basically think about like the forest floor. And I'm by no means an expert in this, you know. I'm used to potted plants, so transitioning to plants planted in the ground is very different for me, and it's really hard to find information online about all this, but I'm just using what knowledge I do have on the matter to try to piece something together and then just praying that it works out good. So the system is we kind of have our dirt, you know. I designed the dirt how we want it to be kind of fluffy and have air be able to go through it. And then on top of that, we're going to have stuff that will break down and it'll feed all the microbial life, basically, all the little nematodes, the worms, the isopods, all the tiny little microscopic stuff that you can't see. And that will break down into the soil and add nutrients into the soil over time. And then what I can do is once a year or however often I have to do it, I can remulch this and I can add other stuff. So we have stuff like these down-to-earth natural fertilizers, which would normally be used in like vegetable gardens or flower gardens as slow-release fertilizers. Basically the same thing we're using it for here. But the concept I'm trying to keep in mind is I am feeding the microbial life more than I am feeding the plants. If I build up the right colonies of bacteria, nematodes, and all this different stuff, they will kind of take care of the plants for me. So one thing that's really important is the mycorrhizal fungus. For those of you that don't know about that, it's basically mycelium, which is like what makes mushrooms. Mushrooms are the fruiting body of mycelium. There's types of mycelium called mycorrhizal fungus, and they go through and they interconnect the plant's roots, and they help transfer nutrients and different minerals and stuff to the plant's roots from the soil. So if you can create this healthy ecosystem with all these microbes and the fungus and everything that's supposed to be there, my theory is that the plants should do pretty well on their own and be able to find stuff they need on their own. And then I'll just have to keep it healthy. So the start is the hardest part probably, especially since I don't know. I never worked at a botanical garden. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm winging it. But yeah, so we got our dirt. The next step is I'm going to add some of this worm castings. This is basically just worm poop for those that don't know. Super good fertilizer in your gardens or whatever. And the amount I'm adding isn't going to add like tons of nitrogen and stuff to this amount of dirt, but we're just building those layers so we can start the process of a healthy ecosystem, or give it a jump start at least. So I'm going to sprinkle a bunch of that around, and then I'm going to add some of this stuff. So this is Down to Earth's BioLive, and you can see the NPK ratio is 5:4:2. I don't really care about that for this, because the main reason I'm adding this one is not as a fertilizer. It's because it contains a bunch of the mycorrhizal fungus and nematodes and different beneficial microbes that I was just talking about. So this is basically going to be the seeds to inoculate all my microbial life. And then I don't have it here now, but I'm going to add a bunch of other different types of mycorrhizal inoculants and stuff like that to get the microbial life going strong. So I'm gonna add this. And then I also have azomite. Azomite is just a super dense trace minerals thing, additive, whatever you want to call it. So this is just trace minerals. I figure with the peat moss and everything I have, the one thing that I'm probably lacking a lot in this soil is minerals at all. So I'm going to sprinkle a bunch of this around and mix it in. So this, the worm castings and the BioLive are kind of just going to get stirred into the top 5 or 6 inches of the soil. And then on top of that, we are going to add our mulch. So for the majority of our mulch, sorry guys, I'm like talking fast and breathing heavy. It's hot and I'm tired. But I'm adding this. What is it called? The small western bark. I just got this from a local nursery. You can kind of see it's mostly pine bark chunks, it looks like, which is what I wanted, with some shredded wood in there. So I like this because it's a variety of different things. So different stuff can get broken down as it needs to. And then I also just like the look of it. I want this to look good. So the other thing you got to think is the forest floor does not just look like dirt, you know? It has leaves, it has pieces of wood, it has all kinds of stuff breaking down. And as this mulch breaks down, that's going to be what creates all those nutrients and everything and keeps the soil healthy. And then the other thing I got is the next size up. So that's the small chunk, and this is the medium chunk. So you can see it's just a lot bigger chunks of wood. And that's more just to add some different texture, make it look more natural. It's going to look kind of ugly if everything is just blanketed with one even texture. And then after we add all this, I'm going to add a bunch of leaves and different stuff, but I'm going to worry about that once I start hardscaping and add wood and all kinds of different stuff. So basically we have our soil mixture, and then the top 6 inches or so will be kind of like the topsoil. It's going to have more dense nutrients, and then our trace minerals, and that's going to be where all our microbial inoculants are. And then on top of that, we're going to have 2 or so inches of mulch. So yeah, hopefully this all works out. I don't know. If you have other suggestions of stuff that I should add, that I can add on top as a top dress or water in, let me know in the comments. But this is enough to at least get a bunch of our isopods and springtails and stuff brought in here to start the process of creating a healthy ecosystem. So joking. Let's get this stuff sprinkled around, worm castings sprinkled around, and then I'll get a rake. We'll stir it all into that top layer. Hey, Lucy. And then we'll spread the mulch. Okay, the fertilizer is all mixed in. We got the mulch all spread out. I think it looks great. It smells amazing in here now. And hopefully it's gonna make a perfect, healthy little ecosystem for all our plants and animals. But that is gonna be it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel because we are gonna start hardscaping this and adding plants soon, which is gonna be awesome. It's been a long time coming. It feels good to actually be doing some cool stuff. But like the video, subscribe to the channel. You guys know the deal. More coming soon.